So the lotto is 50 million this week. Nice.
Gagnon.
Nice.
Winner.
So today we're
Yes.
talking about winning a big lottery.
We are.
Yes. Hello, brothers.
Hello.
Hey.
Happy Friday to you.
Yes.
I love
Happy
this
Friday
topic.
to you.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure you
know.
do love this
I
topic.
do.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, go ahead.
you were destined to be a millionaire. You always said that.
That's what I always said. Yeah,
I know,
I don't
you
know
did.
why. I have a feeling.
Didn't you have like a chain at one point that had like a big dollar on it or something like that? Like almost like a wrapper?
In his gangster days.
No, I just feel like there was
My
something.
keychain.
Oh, was
My
it a keychain?
had the dollar sign on it.
I remember.
Same time he got his grill on his
gold.
teeth.
The grills? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why. From when I was like a little kid.
Thought you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah, I remember that you had that keychain and like you were. I would say, "What's with it?" And you said, "I'm telling you, I'm going to be a millionaire.
You're just
I'm
manifesting.
destined to be a millionaire."
I remember having decks of cards when we lived on Canterbury. And upstairs, I don't know what that room was. When you came up the stairs, the room straight ahead, there was like bedroom there.
Not
Yeah,
sure.
it was my room. And
Was
you're
that
in your room.
Oh, did we split a room?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So in our room, I guess. Makes sense. I was in there, but we had I think it may have been Grandpa's old like black cabinet and had like two doors that opened up. Do you remember that cabinet?
No, but okay.
Anyways, it had that. And Dad used to keep our decks of cards in there. And they always had like, elastic bands on them and all these like random cards. And I'd open it and I'd see them. And in my head, I was just, with the elastic band, it was like stacks
money.
of money. And I was just, I
It was
used to
like a
stack
safe.
them.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's why I used to like
Really?
pretend like that was all my stacks of cash.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that.
So let's talk about if you won the 50 million. This could go a lot of places. So if you won the 50 million, what would you do with the money, and how would it change your life? Like, how would things be very different with $50 million? So let's talk about.
Well, how is it not different? I mean, first
Well,
off,
of course.
you don't have any debts. You could pay off the debts of your immediate family and such, and make sure your kids were looked after. I mean, there's so many things that it would change.
Yeah, but everyone goes to and I'm not trying to be negative because I would love to win $50 million, but everyone goes to oh my God, it would be so amazing. But there's probably a downside to winning $50 million. And there's some things that we don't often think about to winning that kind of money.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about how it would change your life.
I would take all the downside.
Oh, so would I.
I'll burden that on my shoulders.
So would I.
To win the 50
You're gonna get
100%.
all the long lost relatives calling you and asking you
I don't care.
for money.
Call me.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you any. So, sorry.
So I would imagine. No, you go ahead. Yeah.
Here's my question.
Okay.
If you guys win 50 million, how much am I getting?
That is the question. Yeah.
Well,
Because
once
I know
once
what-
I pay off Wade's debts, I mean, what's going to be left?
Yeah. No, but it's a really good question because, and this is where I think there's a downside or potentially a downside, because what if you decided to give your friends, I know all of us, and I know that,
Well, answer my question first.
how much would you get?
Yeah.
If I won $50 million, how much
How
would
much
I
are you
give?
giving your siblings? Because I've done this with Tina, and we know who's getting what money.
Oh, really?
How far and wide that circle goes.
Well,
and how
okay, but
much?
therein lies the problem because your circle is really big. So,
I hope you have more than
so
50
are you just
million
asking?
coming in.
Are you just asking
Yeah.
my siblings how much am I going to give my immediate family, like you and Chad and mom and dad?
Yeah, I don't care what you give Bernie or your friends. I want to know what you're
But
giving
my
me.
kids are also
What
a
am
part
I
of that.
getting? He says.
Yeah, and your kids too. I don't care what you give your kids. I care about what I'm getting.
Minimum $1 million. Minimum. Like that's minimum.
Gee, whoa.
No,
I would hope so.
well, again, it depends. See, this is what I'm talking about.
But it should be at least $1 million.
This
That's
is
I said it
the
is.
dark
It's
side.
minimum.
Everybody's entitled to more than $1 million.
It is
now,
the dark
apparently.
side.
Yeah.
But you just said it should be at least. It would be at least $1 million. It's a minimum $1 million. But I have a lot of people in my kids matter too. And then what about their partners? Like there's just a lot. You have a lot of kids you'd want to give money to. It'd be minimum $1 million, but probably more than that for my immediate family. And it might be different depending on who the family member is.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets difficult. Because do mom and dad, let's say I gave you guys $5 million.
Oh my God, I hope you win. Because I'm not giving you $5 million. Yeah, I'm definitely not giving you
It's
$5
like you guys are getting 100,000. But let's say I gave you guys $5 million each.
Sure.
Do mom and dad need $5 million?
No, but that's logical.
Of course not.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Mom and dad aren't getting what you guys get because they don't need it. They would never spend it.
Right.
So mom and dad were getting $1 million. Shirley was getting $1 million.
Only $1 million.
They don't need more than $1 million. That's
What
the
are we
only reason.
getting? Two.
Two.
We're getting two. Yeah.
Everyone was getting two. So
That's not
every
bad.
sibling
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you win.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
was $2 million.
I like it. I think it's reasonable that you would give your immediate people $2 million. I mean, it also depends on what stage of your life you're in when you win that money.
Well, it depends how
Right?
much money you win
Yeah,
as well.
because like if you won that,
Yes.
hang on, if you won that when you were 25 or 30, you have to plan a little differently. You can't just give away all these millions to all these people because you have to sort of plan what you're going to do with it. You need to think about how you'd spend it. If I won it now at almost 60 years of age, I wouldn't need near as much of it. I could afford to give more away and not worry about it.
Okay,
right?
so,
it would
here's,
make a
so here's the
difference.
question. In order to give $2 million to all your family members, what's the least amount of money you have to win? What's the amount of the lotto for
Well,
you to give?
I thought you're talking that it's just going to be 50 million.
It is going to be 50, but I'm curious to know if you won 12 million in the lottery, you're not giving everyone $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah, I'm giving out 10 million is gone for family, like for you guys and Tina's side. And
But
our
what amount of
parents.
money is a lottery does it have to be for you to give that kind of money away?
Well, I'm not giving away more than half of my money.
Okay,
So I guess I have to win at least 20.
at least 20. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Well, actually more than that,
Well,
25.
I was going to say, if you won 20, you're not going to give away 10.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
because you still have $10 million, shit.
As long as Tina and I are left with 10 million,
Right.
But what age are you when this happened?
it doesn't matter my age. Whether
Really?
I was
So if you were 25
19
and you won it, it doesn't make a difference compared to being 50 or 60?
well, 10 million at 10% is still $1 million a year.
Yeah, but you're assuming
I can live on $1
10%.
million. I can guarantee you I will get 10% of my money.
Even at 5%, he's got $500,000 a year to live on.
I know, but I'm going to get 10%.
Is that right? Is that what it works out to?
Yeah. But 10% of 10 million is $1 million, and I can live
year.
on $1 million
Yes,
a year.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing,
Doesn't matter how old I am, I can still live on $1 million.
I mean, as much as I would love to have the money to do the things I want to do, well, what I would love about winning that kind of money is just being able to give others money. And some people might get money, some might get a gift, depending, because I might know. Like I've always said, I would buy a 1957 Chevy and I'd put it in Angela's driveway and go, there you go, right? Now the problem with that is, knowing Ann, she would be ecstatic about that, but. So there might be someone else that you give a gift to, and they're like, "Well, I would have just preferred the money and paid off my mortgage." So that's where it
Bernie's
gets.
going to be pissed off with the Harvey's coupons.
Right? No, but that's where it gets difficult because you think you're doing a great thing and saying, "Here's a gift," but they're like, "Yeah, but you gave this person, you paid off their mortgage, and I still have a mortgage now." Like so that's where
Yeah.
it gets
It-
interesting.
Yeah, but that's their problem. It's not your problem.
It is their problem. I acknowledge that.
Yeah, I don't think you should give everybody the same thing necessarily. I mean, it depends.
Well, family, you have
right?
to.
Well, family
think,
maybe,
yeah.
but I
Hey,
mean,
Chad, here's your
no,
200,000. Wade gets 2 million. You're
I'm
like,
not saying no, but I mean,
I like that idea.
Well, similarly, all right. Like we all know that we've all had made different levels of success in our lives.
Yeah.
$1 million to you doesn't mean the same as it does to Wade or to me, right? So I think that if you had that now, you might modify what you were doing based on who you were giving it to. If you had if mom and dad had millions in the bank, you may not give them anything. You might say, let's go for a nice dinner, right? So that is going to influence what you might give somebody, isn't it?
What they already have. Yeah.
Well, yeah, or what their means are right now.
I don't know. With
You
family,
think so?
With family, no. I
So
would just give the same
so
amount.
If Spence had $100 million, you would just give him another $2 million.
With family,
if that's what it was.
I think I would with family, just like
I think
'cause
you almost have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be like, well, how come? Like, I get it. I don't need the money, but why?
Okay.
Why am I?
It's not about you
excluded?
needing it. It's just I want
Right.
to do it for you because now it's $2 million you didn't have. You could do whatever you want with it.
Right. Here's
It's
$2 million to
It's
do-
fun money.
Correct.
Right.
Are there people you would give money to that, not even a family, not even close friends, but just you've always wanted to just donate to a certain cause? You would just do that with that kind of money.
I can't honestly say that there's like some group that I've thought, Africa, kids in Africa or something. There's not something that I've just thought if I had this, I'd really love to give it to them. I've more so thought about my kids, my immediate family, just paying debts of people that were close to me. I've thought more about that kind of thing.
What would you give your kids?
What, like if it was 50 million?
Keep in mind they're watching.
Well, yeah, 10. No,
Dollars?
I think I would be more tempted to to give them some money. Wade's mentioned about $1 million or whatever. I could see giving them more like $1 million or a number like that to start with, knowing that, I prepared for them, after my passing, that they would be looked after. But I wouldn't want to give it to them. I'd still want to, I don't want to take away their sense of mastery of having to figure life out a little bit on their own, and know that that money would be there for them after to make sure that they were good. But I wouldn't want to give them so much that because they would be too young right now to appreciate, and maybe make some bad choices. And I wouldn't want that. So I think I'd give them enough that they could kind of live it up a little bit, but not that it would maybe ruin their ability to kind of plan their life a bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do the same.
Yeah, because I hate to say it, but it's not about wanting them to struggle, but it's, as you said, it's about learning some of those life lessons and mastering some things. And there's something to be said about the pride you feel for doing it on your own.
Yeah.
But then knowing that they might, at a certain point of accomplishment, you're going to help them down the road.
Right.
Yeah. If you know anybody in life that every single thing has been handed to them their whole lives, they've never worked for anything, never had to try for anything.
Yeah, they don't appreciate it.
There's no appreciation for it. So I don't think you want to rob them of that, as much as that might sound harsh.
So you've won $50 million.
Yeah.
What's the first vacation you're taking? Or what's the first thing you're doing with that money?
I'm going away on a plane somewhere. Don't know where.
Somewhere.
But as soon as I won, I take a limo to the OLG office.
Yep.
Get the funds deposited, and obviously have a financial guy on speed dial that's gonna, take care of all that stuff. And then, family is all hopping on a jet,
Going somewhere.
and we're all, everyone's getting flown into wherever we're going, wherever that place is. I don't know where, but that's where we're going.
You always mention that show that Down Under, Below Deck. Yeah. Is that still on your list of things you want to do with a bunch of money?
Yeah, I'm going to do that anyways, regardless of winning a lottery. I want to do that at one point.
You want to do the TV show or just want to do that?
I don't have to be on the TV show, but I think it'd be funny to be on the
Good
TV
TV.
show. But
I don't know if you ever really want to see that TV show, though.
maybe not.
They talk trash behind the scenes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be fun. That'd be a fun thing to do for like all the family.
Yep.
But that's not like lottery winning needed to do that, right?
Well, that's a pretty healthy sum. How much does it cost to do that?
Oh, it is. It's
for a
not
weekend?
cheap, but I'm just saying, like I don't know, 100 grand.
No, I think it's like 300 grand for the weekend
What?
or something. It's a lot of money.
No, because they get the tips are like 20,000, which is usually 20%. So if it's 100,000, the tip would be 20.
Yeah.
True.
I think it's 100 grand.
But is it 3 nights? No, it's 2 nights and 3 days, right? Yeah.
yeah.
2 nights and
But
3
the
days.
amount of days
it's
it's
more than
expensive.
I'm prepared right now to spend on for something like that.
Yeah, me too. But
So Chad, would you and Missy agree on who to give money to and the amount of money to give to people?
I think we would have a lengthy discussion about that. I don't know if we would be on the same page immediately, because again, I talk about the life lesson
right.
sort of stuff.
Yes, I know.
Whereas I she's more kind-hearted than that. She just want to make sure that nobody had any worries and right away. And I think I would be looking at the other side of it. I think we would ultimately agree, but I think it might take some discussion.
See, this is where I think it gets not difficult, but it could be a challenge, right? What I would want to donate to or who would want to give money to and the amount I'd want to do it might be different than what she would want to do and who she'd want to give money to. So we've said if we won 50 million, we would take whatever, 40 million of that or 35 million of that. And we put that aside. That's our joint money. And then we each get $10 million to do with it what we want, to give it to whoever we want to give it to. And the other person,
so outside of friends,
and the other person has,
family's not included in that money.
No, whichever money we're going to give people, we each take a same amount of money and we can divvy it up the way we want to divvy it up. So we won 50, we take 30, we put it aside, and then soon I have 10 million each to give to family and friends. Say.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
That's as an example. It'd be more than that. And the reason for that is she may want to give money to certain people or to things that I would be like, well, why are you doing that? And then you wouldn't want to have arguments about, you're giving $5 million to the theater. Like, why are you doing that? Right. So I think that's where it becomes problematic. And so the way to solve that is you just both have the same amount of money to give away and no questions asked. You get to do with it what you want.
I kind of like that idea. I can see that would.
Yeah. Because what if Tina wanted to donate to some cause that you didn't really want to donate to? And you're like, no, like, why are you giving?
I'd say that I bought the ticket.
Yeah. Like, why are you giving $2 million to this cause when you don't believe
No,
in
I
that
get it.
cause?
That would be tough.
Yeah.
And we've had that same conversation too about.
Yeah.
I know she would give other people money, and maybe she'd want to give more money. I'd be like, I don't think they should get that much.
Right.
And then we'd be getting in an argument. We've been in an argument talking
exactly.
about
So have
giving
we.
a hypothetical lottery win and who's
so-
getting what money. I'm
Exactly.
just like, why are we fighting about this? This
Exactly.
hasn't even happened. But
Well, and this just came up with Sue, and I mean, if you're watching Sue, it's not about criticizing anything, but she was showing a private yacht. She said, I would totally do this for the family. It sleeps 30 people.
Right.
We could all be in this private yacht, go for a week. It would be amazing if we won the 50 million tomorrow. And because I'm more of a value for money kind of guy, I was like, I don't know if I would do that. It's a lot of money because it was $800,000 for the week when you factor in tip and food and everything else.
Yeah, see, I'm with you on that, Wade. For me, it's a value proposition sort of thing. And I know, Spence, this is not the same, but you and I talk about poker sometimes, and you'll say, "What big deal? It's like $100 buy-in." And I say, "Yeah, but that's not worth it to me." And you say, "But you spend $150 going out for dinner, you wouldn't even think about it. But you're going to spend $100 to play poker?" Like, yeah, well, the difference is the poker to me is just like giving it away. Where the dinner, I'm getting something that's more value to me for that for that 150.
Yeah, so it comes down to the value.
Yeah.
So that's just an example of how I would be like, well, like you're going to spend $800,000, and Sue's response was, and rightly so, was, I still have $42,200,000 left. I'm sure we can afford it. I'm like, well, yeah, you can, but then what's the next thing?
Hold on, wouldn't you have 49,200,000?
Sorry, I just did the math wrong there.
yeah.
Wow, that was bad math. Yes, you'd have $49 million left.
Yeah, so I guess
still.
you'd be all right.
You'd be fine. But it's funny because we were arguing about how to spend that money without even having the money. So I think once you have the money, it's got to be 10 times worse to agree on those things.
yeah, I think you're right. The only way to do it is that you both peel off a portion that's your own discretionary money to
Yep.
do with whatever you want. Like, I think you agree, okay, family, we're going to give $1 million each or $2 million each, whatever that is.
Sure.
And then she's giving her brothers that money, you're giving your brothers that money.
Yeah.
And that's all talked about and said. But then when you may have different friends, right? She may have some theater friends. You've got Bernie and other people that you might give money to. Yeah, I think that's where it gets difficult because you might say, well, hang on, I don't agree.
And she would want to give money to my friends, but she might differ on the amount and vice versa.
Which is why I think you have to have that separate amount that you guys, no
for
questions
sure.
asked, you can give whatever you want.
It's not the same thing, but Missy and I just talked about this, with retirement income, because you'll have, X amount of money per month. And she said, I'm wondering if maybe we should both just take, if it's, let's say you had, $5,000 a month, should you take $2,500 each and just have it in your own account? And I said, well, why? And she said, well, because I don't want to resent you when you're buying stuff for the boat or something like that. Or what? And I said, yeah, well, I'm just letting you know if the boat needs a new motor, you're just going to have to suck it up. It's like 30 grand.
Yeah.
But she said, well, that's the thing. I don't want to be upset about that. So maybe you should just have it in your own bank. And I thought, yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah, it's
I know, but
interesting.
okay, but now you bring up a good point. So you're in retirement, you're on a fixed income, you know how much you can spend each month, and now you need a new motor. But you've only been retired for a year and you don't have 30 grand saved up in your own money.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Well, I send Missy out for groceries, then I go over to the bank.
And I get a new motor.
I'll be at Holy Gully if you need me.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
No, it's the same motor, babe. What are you talking about?
Why is it shiny?
Yeah, the secret is that you have to buy one that looks the same color as the one you already had, so that nobody knows. Right? Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, again, I said this before. I would love to have the money to do what I want to do, but I would love just to be able to give to people. That would be give them the most joy. And even if I saw a family who I knew was struggling,
Yep.
maybe they're a young couple with new kids and they're struggling in their house, and I met them through something, and I'm like, I just want to help them out. I just want to give them 200 grand
Buy a
and
new
go,
car.
Yeah.
oh, here's 200 grand. You don't have a mortgage now. There you go. Good for you. Just because I can. Like that would be.
I don't know where they're living when they've only got a $200,000 mortgage and they're just starting out.
No, but you know what? Okay, you're right. But you know what I mean.
There's something. Giving is very underrated. It really is. I didn't. It's not something I certainly realized when I was young. But as you get older and you're in a position to do something for somebody, man, it feels great.
Yeah,
It feels really good to do that.
yeah. That's what I would enjoy the most. And then obviously having a big family vacation somewhere would just be, to me, it's just not worrying anymore. It's just like, I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about anything.
Yep.
But here's the part that I always thought about. And this, it doesn't apply so much as we get older because we're close to retirement. But when you were working, and we still are, but
Yep.
I always thought about, would your friendships change? Because let's say we're in our 40s and we won 50 million, and now we can quit work. We can do whatever we want. We can travel anywhere we go. But we're saying to our friends, come with us because we want to party with you. And they're like, I can't afford it. We go, no, it's on me. I'm going to pay for it. We're like, well, that's nice, but that's 3 weeks off from work. I only have 4 weeks vacation. I can't just go with you.
Right.
And you're traveling and all your friends can't do the same things with you. Would your friendships change? Would
I think, of course, they change.
Would they
Yeah,
suffer
of course,
would they suffer?
Yeah, I absolutely think so as well. I think it has to change. And it's not that it's in a bad way.
It's just that they
you're gonna
can't
have
afford to do the things
you're going
you
to have
can do.
flexibility in your life and what you can do and when you can do it. And they're going to be slave to the man still, essentially, or woman.
Yeah, that's the dark part I think about.
Yeah,
winning
I don't
the
think you
lottery.
realize that it might be lonely when you have that money because you don't have your friends to enjoy it with you.
That's true.
And they might get resentful because they can't reciprocate, like all sorts of things. I think it's really tough. I still want to go through it.
Yeah.
But
Don't worry, I'll take the winnings from you, Wade, so you don't have to deal with that kind of.
well,
Yeah,
but that
the heartache,
issue isn't
yeah.
the same once you're retired. When everyone's retired is
Right.
not quite the same because they could have they have free time to go with you and you can pay for them.
Ironically, I don't even have a big list. Like if I had, that 50 million, I haven't even really thought about it, honestly, for a really long time. I don't have a big list of things that I want. I think I'd want everybody close to me to just feel comfortable. And as you said, Wade, just the ability to just know that I could do something if I wanted to. I don't really have a big list of all these things. I need a new car and I want a Ferrari. And
No, I don't
I don't
either.
really have that kind of list.
you-
I don't. What?
I don't either.
Go ahead.
Would you buy like an exotic car with 50 million? Like you're gonna have a Ferrari or just some crazy thing you spend your money on? Like I'm on.
I mean,
I'd have a few vehicles.
I probably would have something like that.
Motorcycles.
But like what car though?
Well, that's the thing. I don't really have I don't need to have a McLaren or whatever it is. I don't have a big list of things that I need. I don't need jewelry. I don't need a fancier house. Like I don't really need
I
those
didn't say you
things.
needed it, but
I know,
I'm just
but I'm just saying I don't have a list of stuff that I want. I just want the comfort of knowing if I want to do it, I can.
I'm the same as you, Chad. I don't need to have, there's not a specific car that I need to have that I would buy. I would just like to know if I'm driving by a lot and I see a car that I like, and it might even just be might just be a Beamer or something. And I go, that's an awesome car. I'm going to buy it because I can.
Right.
That's what I would like.
Freedom.
But I don't have I must have this and I must have this. I'd probably have a couple motorcycles. I'd probably have a few cars depending on the day that I want to drive
Yeah.
and where I'm going.
I've never thought I want to have a big house with 10 bathrooms, and I've never had those kinds of thoughts as far as that kind of money.
I want a McLaren 750 Spider. I already know what I want. I can't believe you guys don't even know the car you want to get.
No, because I'm not that kind of person. It doesn't.
It doesn't faze me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want a McLaren, and then obviously you need a nice garage to put that in somewhere. Would you go look for a bigger house than what you have?
Yeah. I'm not staying in my house if I have 50 million. There's no way.
Maybe.
No, I wouldn't stay in my house either.
Well, I guess I
don't
would
know where I'm
either.
gonna live. I
Would
might
you just
live-
have like houses, maybe one in Europe, one here, one
I don't
there?
want multiple houses like that.
No.
I never understood that.
No, you
People
just-
are in a house for like
no, you
2
just
weeks a
rent.
year. So yeah, just
You
rent
just rent
somewhere.
You can afford to rent.
I've got my nice house that is my primary residence, wherever that's going to be.
And maybe a cottage. Would you have a cottage?
No,
You wouldn't, eh?
no, maybe.
Depends. A cottage,
Yeah.
a cottage in Bora Bora.
I'd probably have a boat over a cottage, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, a nice boat.
A nice big sailboat, like a 60-foot.
A cat.
That'd be nice.
You know what? That could be a whole nother podcast. Cat or a
Yeah.
monohull.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I flip flop all the time. Maybe I have both.
I think you're buying another cottage, Chad. You're buying a nice.
Oh yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
I can tell you for sure. I would have that. The one with the big, gigantic wraparound porch,
yeah.
the big A-frame cedar,
The
traditional
big
cottage
boathouse.
with a big boathouse and a couple of fishing boats, something that I could take a bunch of people out on.
Okay, is
Something
it
for me to just get
is it
around.
on big water or is it on a smaller
It's on somewhere that's going to allow me to have that boathouse, and it could be up north, probably up north.
Muskoka?
Yeah, I feel like that kind of an environment.
Yeah.
But I prefer something like that, but that I can have year-round weather. I don't want to be screwed with the lake is frozen X amount of months a year. So it could be maybe it's somewhere down south. I don't know, but I'd like to have nice weather.
I think you just have both. That's why I think you'd have a cottage in Muskoka and you might have a place in the Caribbean somewhere.
Maybe.
Yeah. Imagine on a weekend, you're like, what do you want to do this weekend? Like, which we all do on a Friday night. It's like, let's have dinner and want some Italian. Let's have some Italian. And you go,
Let's go to Rome.
we're gonna fly to Rome and we're gonna have
Some carbonara.
yeah. Like imagine that's pretty incredible. That's what I would think is just amazing. Now that takes a different level of money with a private jet and all that kind of stuff.
But you don't need a private. You can just rent private. You don't need your own private jet.
Yeah, I think with
I
50 million,
guess.
you could afford to do that trip fairly often.
Yeah.
Anytime you wanted to do it.
Yeah, I think so.
Would you have your own jet or would you just
No.
rent? Yeah, I would say I wouldn't either because that's a waste of money.
Again, it's a complete waste of money. It's like
Yeah.
you're spending like, and again, I think probably the cheapest jet is probably 12 or 15 million. So
Yeah.
I'm not blowing that kind of cash out of my 50
Right.
to have a jet that I'm not really on. And then the cost of maintenance and running that jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question. Are there some things you would have in terms of personal assistance of any kind that you would want if you had that kind of money? What kind of help would you have? Oh no, I don't know. I don't mean bedroom assistance. No, no. Like, would you
Spencer's got the next level AI going.
silicone? No, would you have a personal assistant to just do all your bookings, your travel plans? That's what I would have in a heartbeat. I want to go here on this weekend, get everything set up.
I would. I mean, I kind of. Well, actually, I don't want to say that. That sounds bad. I was going to say I kind of have that now, but I was going to say, like, the stuff that I really hate doing is the paperwork.
Yes.
So the accounting, the making sure the bills are paid, those sorts of things. Worrying about that. I just like to have somebody else to do that.
Well, you'd have your own accountant.
Yeah,
for sure.
Missy does that now, but it would be nice for somebody else to
You would have your own accountant
do that. Yeah, somebody that would just take care of whatever. The hydro bill needs to get paid, or you're going on a trip, they can book you some tickets. You know,
Personal assistant.
Yeah.
Whatever you need them to do, they do it for you. Would you have someone to do all your laundry, cook your meals?
No, I don't think I need that.
No.
No,
Spence, you have a personal
Yeah.
chef. You have a chef.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
a personal chef.
Yeah.
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 Think about that.
Every time you come down, you're like, you know what? Can you whip up some of my nachos? We're just going to watch the game. Or can you?
Okay.
I mean, we all
right,
like
I
we
could
all
get
like
used to that. I'm not going to.
we
It's
all
not
like
expensive to have that. That's
we
the
all
thing.
like cooking, but
Yeah.
but let's be honest. Like, and you could say I want it to be healthy and good for me, but really taste good, and they do whatever you want them to do. Like it's just,
I'm totally having a private chef.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I changed my mind. I think I want
and
that.
you're gonna have a housekeeper that's gonna keep your house clean. You're gonna have a landscaper. You're gonna have all that stuff because you just want to enjoy your time and your
Yeah.
money.
I kind of think the idea of just, you were talking about renting planes and stuff earlier. I almost think the idea of not really having a home base, just renting whatever you want, wherever you want.
Yeah.
So you can just travel around. You want to be in Bora Bora for a month. You want to be in Australia. You want to be in.
That's why you
in
don't have
Italy.
multiple houses.
And that's why I need to own it. Like, honestly, I don't think I want to own anything.
You probably don't need to own it.
No, you
Because
don't.
why?
No.
No. You just know from this month to this month, I'm going to be in this place, and I have my typical rental that I rent every year at this time, and then I'm going to go to Italy, then I'm going to go to this place.
I wonder if you asked a financial advisor, you know, if it would make sense to not really own anything and just jet set around, you know, with that amount of money, what they would say. If they would say that's a good plan.
Yes.
But if you own it, now you're responsible for maintenance
Right.
and everything else, and you're not there all the time.
Well, that's what I mean. It might be good advice.
I think it is good advice to not own anything.
Yeah. Well, because you don't. It's not a. See,
You don't need the appreciation of the
You're
asset.
thinking as someone that doesn't have $50 million. This is the issue, right?
Right.
Your brain goes to the place.
Well,
of
I'm pretty good at thinking about that. Because
No, but that's the thing. Our brains right now, because we don't have it, go to the place of, well, it doesn't make economic sense to rent when you could buy. But with $50 million, it doesn't matter.
You don't need it's not like an asset you need that's going to appreciate. You already have all the money you need. So
right.
And you're not going to run out of money. But it's hard to think of that way because we have our current situations that are not clouding, but are influencing our judgment.
Do you know how many tariffs you could afford for $50 million?
Well, I know we say that, and this is where I want to just preface one thing. You don't actually have 50 million. When you give away all the money that we're giving away, you might only have 25 million. And then things are
And
a
you're
little
paying
bit
tax
harder.
on that. Yeah,
Right, you're not paying tax.
You don't
have
pay.
asked,
You don't
know.
pay tax on.
You don't
it.
pay tax
Not
on
in
that?
Canada.
Well, I guess it is tax-free money.
Yeah,
Not
you'll
in
pay
Canada.
tax on your interest off that money, but
Right.
Yeah, and you pay tax in the U.S., but not in Canada.
yeah. But that's the thing. Like I know we get caught up on all this. Hey, we don't need it. Who cares? You got 50 million. A, you don't. You've got probably 25 or 20.
Right.
And then things, yeah.
They get away from you.
Well, yeah, you're not jet sitting on private jets every
No,
weekend.
they could certainly get away from you if you were stupid about
Right.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Because a private jet to somewhere like Italy, I bet is probably 150 G's or 100 grand easily.
You think so?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably
Well,
150.
Maybe
The
that's one
fuel
reason why you
alone
don't
is
want to give
crazy.
away $2 million to each person right off the hop until you.
Well, that's why, honestly, for me to like basically live and not have to worry about anything, I would have to win more than 100 million.
100 million. Come on.
Well, because I would want to give a bunch of
Wow.
money away. So I have 100 and they give away 50. I've got 50 million.
No. But you don't have to give away the 50, right? If you have 100 million, you could still give away what you want to give away, and that's all you need to give away. 2 million is still plenty,
Yeah.
right?
But I don't know.
Because here's the other thing. I know your personality. And if you gave us all 2 million, you won 100.
I know I'm still going to be buying stuff and
Yeah,
giving you money.
you're
when you
still
need
like,
it. I
hey,
know.
I'm flying you down because we're all partying in Bora Bora this
Right.
weekend. You're coming,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I would give all my family enough money so they could retire, not have to worry about working. So then you could come on all these trips.
right.
But I don't know. Like I think if you won 100 million, you only gave me $1 million, I'd be like, are you fucking serious?
This is what I mean. Though.
Right, but I would
Yeah.
be. I'm going to tell you guys right now. If you win 100 million, I need more than $1 million. Or I'm going to be like,
If I won 100 million, you're getting more than $1 million.
Yes,
I'm going to make sure that
absolutely.
you're retiring now.
It'd be 1.5 million.
Exactly. Chad, 1.75.
Okay, 7.5. Yeah.
right. So,
No, I'd make sure that you're retiring now too, and you're not worrying about anything. Absolutely.
because I think the worst thing that could happen is you win 50 million, you give away 25, you got your 25, you make some stupid purchases or whatever, you go crazy the first however many years. And now 10 years in, you're worrying about money. You're like, now you got to be on a budget.
Well, that is the issue. They have to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the whole point of this was just to say that I am winning the 50 million next
Nice.
Tuesday.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
I'd like
manifesting
my.
that.
I'd like
Well,
my
I've been
2 million
manifesting since
in
I
large,
was
large bills for my 2 million.
5. I
Spence
think.
has been stacking his cash,
Yeah.
his stacks of
Yeah.
money. Yeah. Since he was 5.
It's a cool thought. I mean, everybody's thought about it over. Like, what would you do if you won $1 million? What would you do if you? But we've never really just talked about it to this degree.
No, and I think it's going to sound so funny to say this, but it'd be hard if you only won 5 million. It'd be incredibly hard to know.
Yeah.
Because that's not in
Well,
today's
I gotta
standards
be
a
honest.
lot
There's
of money.
not really enough to give out if you only have 5 million, because you literally at your age almost need $5 million.
You're now giving out
not 5 million, but
you're now
not
giving
far.
out $100,000 versus $2 million to everybody. Like
Yeah.
you've got $1 million to say we're going to give that to people,
Yeah.
and that's it because we have to live on the rest.
That's very true.
Which
How
is
crazy
so-
is that?
it
You
is.
need
I know.
like $3 or $4 million to retire.
I almost, and
is
this,
crazy.
you're going to laugh when I say this, I almost don't want to win a lottery that's like $1 million or $2 million.
Well, because you'd feel like you want to give money away, but you can't.
Right. And I feel like I want to retire, but I don't know if I can retire on $1 million. or
You
2 million.
can't.
I know I can't.
Yeah.
So
People can, you can't, but people can.
Honestly, Wade, you can't retire. I'm sorry. You can't retire at $1 million.
Yes, you can.
Right now, at your age? No way.
Yeah, you can.
well, you can't, depending where you
Well,
live.
yeah, sure. Do you want to live at the Mission?
I'm just saying you
know,
can.
Of course you can.
You can, but you can't do what you want to do with that.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to.
Doesn't feel like a lottery win then, does it? Feels like,
no, you're not going to be able to. You won't be able to buy a new car.
No, I know.
When you need one, you're not going to be able
Sad.
to pay.
that's
off
what I mean. That's
all
why I
your
don't
bills.
want to. I don't want to win a lottery like that because I
Yeah.
feel like, I know there's some people in the world that have won multiple lotteries, but for the most part, winning a lottery is like a once in a lifetime thing. So if I'm
Yeah.
going to have a once in a lifetime thing, I
better
want it
be-
to be that
of
50
course.
million
Yeah,
or
sure.
the 100 million,
Of course.
not a 500,000. Like
So just so you know, if I win $2 million next week, then
getting
you're not
nothing.
getting anything.
I already
Just
know
so you
that.
know.
Yeah, that's okay. Wade. I still would have given you something, Wade, if I won $2 million.
$10.
Gift
Gift cards.
Yes, yeah, gift cards.
Chad, take us all out to the keg
Uber
for dinner.
Eats gift cards.
That's right. Yes. Yes,
Kelsey's.
I'm taking everybody to Swiss Chalet for sure.
Yeah.
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 But
There's no
gravy.
limits, guys, except 2 drink tickets. That's all you get.
That's right.
Anyway, this is kind of interesting. I mean, I wish we could say we all win, but
I want to win the lottery now, man.
I do,
Thanks.
I
I've
know.
been thinking about this all day.
I know.
I'm bummed now.
You're bummed because you want to win?
I'm just bummed that $1 million is not enough money.
I
anymore.
know. Remember that
Anyway.
song? If I pray to
If I had $1 million, now they have
Buy
to
you,
rewrite
I'd
it.
buy you a couch. Yeah.
A couch.
Not a real fur coat.
Yes.
That's cruel.
someone's a millionaire, it's like, yeah, well, whoopee shit.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
I think though the moral of this for me is I would love to be able to give to others with that kind of money. I would enjoy that immensely.
Yeah, I don't know what is better, buying all those things that you want and having that freedom, or being able to watch the expression on people that you can
The
just
latter's the
I
better.
think
change. Their,
Well, I think
latter.
actually it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I agree.
I think because it feels good to give, but like you said, what about the expression on your face when you got that new McLaren, whatever?
Yeah.
What did you want?
750
The Spider.
Spider.
Yeah.
Go watch a YouTube video on that car. Oh my God.
I will.
Oh, it's crazy.
It is.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'll check it out. Well, in the meantime, I hope you got your lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Let's buy one.
I'm going to buy one now for
Do it
sure.
right now.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time, boys.
I'm ProBROknow.
ProBROknow.